Welcome back, everybody. We're doing another video today. This is actually going to be a two-parter. We got a lot to do today. It's going to be a long one, and I only have a few hours to do it. So hopefully, I don't have to run to the store or do anything or need to get stuff because it's going to be a doozy. So today we're going to be doing an oil change, a trans oil change, and a brake pad change. Hit up fast, not fast. Heck. Oh man, I've been seeing a lot of their ads, and yeah, I just got confused. AMSOIL, hit them up. You know, the awesome thing is that Lethal signed me up for the preferred customer program, which saves me about 25% on all my orders. If I had just gotten the transmission oil by itself, it would have been about $180. And that's just that. With the preferred customer program, I was able to get the trans fluid and an oil change for the exact same price, which is insane to me. So yeah, so I just decided to do both. We are actually going to the Speed Ventures at the Auto Club Speedway up in Fontana next Sunday. So that is going to be a ton of fun. And the only reason why I'm doing all of this stuff is because the oil change, it's always a good idea to do it anyway before you race it. I haven't changed the oil since I went to Chuckwalla. The trans fluid, I haven't actually changed that since I got the car. I've been tracking it multiple times, driving a lot. The car's at 40,000 miles. It's due for a change anyway. The brake pads though, I wasn't gonna change them, but I decided to do it only because, one, they are the Z26 power stops. They are made for the street, but they're also a upgrade of what I have now, which will definitely help me, one, dealing with heat and, you know, stopping better. So that's going to help with braking times and, you know, lap times as well. So gonna try and get all that done today. The brake pads I'm gonna do in a separate video, because I might not even get to that today. It's all dependent on the oil change and stuff like that. I might have to do that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm excited. You know, again, thank you, Matt, for signing me up. He paid for my first year of the preferred customer subscription or membership. Definitely taking advantage of it. I haven't had to really pay shipping for most of my stuff, and yeah, it got here in 2 days. I ordered it on a Friday, on a Monday, got here on the Tuesday. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna get started on. We're gonna do the oil change first, but while I'm down there, I'm gonna take a look at the trans fluid. I haven't seen any videos on anybody doing the transmission oil. I haven't seen any videos on that, so I want to see how complicated it is. I've done an automatic, super simple. I just want to see if there is a drain plug. As far as I saw on the automatic, I didn't see one, so I want to see if there's one in here, because then I don't have to go get a manual pump to get the oil out, because that would just be a nightmare. But yeah, so I'm gonna go down there and take a look, and then we'll see. So this video is only gonna be about the oil changes. You know, I'm gonna go very fast on the actual oil change itself, the transmission fluid oil, or transmission fluid. I'm gonna do a little bit more of a detailed one on that one, and then we'll see if we can get to the brakes today. And if not, then we'll do it tomorrow. All right, we're down here, and yeah, it's gonna be super easy. So here's the awesome thing. No oil filter for the transmission. So there's no oil pan or anything like that. So that's going to be the best part of the entire thing, is that it's just going to be simple. When I did the automatic, it was definitely harder to figure out where everything was at. But here's the awesome thing. Here's a drain plug, and it even tells you drain on there. So that's cool. And there is, let me see if I can get the light. There is the fill plug. Let me try and get it there real quick. That is the fill plug. So this is gonna be easy. Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna have to get a pump so I can you know, put it into the car. But other than that, it's just gonna be super simple. So here's the drain plug, and there's the fill plug, and we should be able to do this today with no issues. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the car down. I'm gonna go get an oil pump, so that way I can put the oil in there. Not so much worry about the drain. The drain is gonna be easy. Change of plans. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do the oil now. So I am the type of person who likes to do the oil change when the car is cold. That's gonna give you the maximum amount of oil off the engine, or at least the used oil in the engine, and it's gonna be down in the oil pan. There's nothing wrong with doing it after you've driven the car. I normally let it sit for a while, so that way some of it can drip off and you know, you can get the most of it out. But I like doing it on a cold car. Now the car had to turn on a little bit. I had to let out Chelsea so she can go to work. So I had, and you know, put it onto the stand. So so it's not 100% cold, but it didn't get up to it didn't get up to operating temperature, which is nice. So I'm not gonna burn my hands. But the best thing about it too is that I will get most of the oil out. So it'll be fresh, clean oil. I honestly don't have a whole lot of miles on this oil to begin with, but I'm gonna do it anyway since I'm already gonna be down there. It just makes sense. It's better off. And then two, that overlapping oil change is going to help bring out whatever contaminants are in the oil, you know, especially if you're not exact on your oil changes, which I usually am, but this is just kind of good to help bring out any gunk that may have stayed in there, because a lot of my oil changes have been I went and got the oil, or I driven the car and then did the oil change. So that's what we're going to do first. Then we're going to go to the store, grab that pump, and then do the transmission oil. I feel like the transmission oil will be pooled enough at the bottom. I might just wait a while and let it sit, since I have to drive a while and the car will get up to temp. But you know, I've never done the transmission oil, so we'll see. Hopefully we're able to get all of it out, or I'll just open it up, leave it open, and just let it sit for about an hour, so that way most of the old oil can come out, and then we can put in new ones. So let's start with that. My first thing that I always do is I open up the oil cap, make sure that's all looking good, and I'll just kind of leave it cracked like this. Now I don't leave it completely off because bugs or anything flying in the air, I mean, anything could fall into there. You're just better off, you know, leaving the cap slightly on there to kind of cover it, so that way nothing gets in there. But that's gonna help let the oil pull down. You have some oil spills, just go get some plastic, some painter's plastic. I think this was like 80 cents, like $1 maybe, if that. And I bought a bunch of them because I was painting some stuff, and I just cut a big piece, lay it down, so then when I do my oil change, if there's any splashing or anything, it's gonna get on the plastic and not on your driveway or your garage or wherever you're doing it. So helps just keep things clean, and then it's easily, you know, you can just sweep everything up and throw it away. You know, it's plastic, so it's bad for the environment, but so is oil. Either way, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lay down some plastic. We're gonna start getting the oil change going. So real quick, if you didn't know, this is your oil filter. That's your oil drain plug. You could either use a socket or Torx star piece, and you can use that. This is a T45. Gets in there nice and tight. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So this is a trick I learned when you can't get the oil filter off, and for some reason this always happens to me, and I always do it hand tight, but I'm not sure what the deal is. But you get a C-clamp and you just need to wiggle it free slightly. So hopefully you guys can see this, but you just kind of get it to where it gets into those ridges, and you just tighten it down a little bit. And just tighten it down a little bit. Don't overdo it. You just want to loosen this up. You just slightly twist until you get that, and then you just wiggle it off. There we go. Okay, you definitely want to try and loosen it up more than what I did, but that's all right. The idea is to just try and get it slightly loose. Alright, and that's it. So those are off. I usually let it sit for a while, let everything kind of drip out, so that way we get the maximum amount of oil out of the car. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and get the box of oil, get that all prepped and ready, and we'll get this all sealed up, and we will fill it up. Alright, so this is what we're using today. We're using the Signature Series 5W30, and our cars take 6 quarts. Yeah, it's like 5 point something, but it's in the higher fives. It's like a 5.98. So we're using the Signature Series. It's a little more expensive, but definitely has a better wear and tear protectant than the OEM, but go within your budget. You'll be fine as long as you're not doing any racing or anything like that. You'll be able to use that. Using the Wix filters, I haven't had any issues with these. They've been great. I thought about getting the AMSOIL one, but honestly, this has been doing so well, I just figured I'd just stick with this. As far as the transmission fluid, now you can see it says automatic transmission fluid. Now, for those of you who are watching that are familiar with cars, you know, you can skip this, but for those who aren't, it says automatic, but most transmission, actually, believe it or not, most cars now use automatic transmission fluid for a lot of things. They use it for power steering, and they use it for manual transmission fluid as well. So it's kind of you know, an overall universal fluid. Universal. Just check your manual and everything. But the cars take 8 quarts of this. Now, don't follow that to a T. Follow the manual. That's going to be your best friend. But rule of thumb is when you're filling in the fill hole, you will see you'll see oil starting to come out. That is when it's full and when you should stop. So don't think that you have to keep going. If it starts filling up and it's squirting out, don't think you have to put all of it in. just go until oil starts coming out, and that is your top off line. It's a good rule of thumb, but also follow the manual. If you're unsure, you want to make sure, take it to a dealer or take it to a service shop that'll be able to do it for you. So, but yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and pull out the rest of the oil that's in here, and then that way we can get the car nice and topped off. So a trick that I've been doing since I've been working on my cars, and I think I learned this in auto shop in high school, is that a lot of the oil capacity that is on, you know, websites or anything like that, some of them will or they won't add the capacity of your oil filter. So a good rule of thumb, if you want to do this, I always do it and I've never had issues, but I always put some oil in here. Now that helps kind of get this ready, so when oil starts coming in, it doesn't take a while. I mean, it's not going to hurt your engine. Most engines now you can just do a quick swap and you're not going to have to worry about it, but I feel like it just overall good prevention of any issues. It's going to get this ready so when oil comes in, the filter inside doesn't need to take a second to absorb the oil and then let it pass through. You'll be able to, it's just going to go automatically. I normally fill it to about a little bit under the rim. So there's a little rim there, like you can see those ridges about there. So then that way there's already oil pre-filled in there, and so when you turn the car on, you're not, you know, having to wait for everything to kind of cycle through. It's just going to be, you know, everything's going to work with no issues. Again, most newer cars, you're not going to have an issue dealing with that, but it's a good idea just to have that there. So I'll just pour some in. And you'll see it go down because the filter has to absorb the oil. So just wait a little bit and then just add some more. Alright, now that we got that filled, that's nice and rimmed out, we're going to go under the car and we're going to clean around the oil filter, well, where it goes. I don't know what you would call it, but we're going to clean it around there, make sure that it's nice and clean, so when that goes on, it creates a perfect seal. Alright, so that's nice and clean. I just need to wipe where the drain plug goes. Other than that, that's nice and clean. So I just get a towel, just kind of clean everywhere in between here, right here, you know, around the threads. I just make sure that this whole thing is clean. So that way, when I put the new filter in, it goes in with no issues. So, you know, in order to take it slow, don't want to cross thread. I've done that before on a different car and it sucked. So we're gonna tighten this up. We're gonna go hand tight, also hand tight, and then we're gonna put the plug in, and then we'll be good to go to fill it up. So one thing I forgot to mention when I was first started doing this is, or when I took off the plug, is remember this gasket. Remember that you don't lose this gasket, because that would be very, very bad. So just remember when you're pulling it off that it goes with the bolt itself. So I'm going to hand tighten now, and then I'll grab the wrench after I clean this up, and then we'll tighten this up. Don't over tighten it. Just get it nice and snug, and then just enough to where it naturally will stop on its own. You know, if you have a torque wrench, definitely do it that way with the torque specs, so you're not over tightening this. Alright, it's all buttoned up down there, so we're good to go. Oil's all drained out into one of those empty cans, so we can take those to get recycled. So time to fill it up. Got our funnel here, and then we'll get this all topped off. Turn it on for a couple minutes, let it get you know, let it idle. Normally let it just kind of do its thing. The good thing is that I still have an extra bottle of oil, so if for whatever reason we're low, we can top it off, make sure it's completely full. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do next, and then we're gonna run to the store and go get that pump, so then that way we can refill the transmission oil as well. Okay, so that's the last bottle. We're just letting it drain. I have this weird thing, if you're not using all of it, then you're kind of wasting it. So what I'll do is I'll put one in, I'll put it upside down, let it sit there, and I'll get the bottle that just finished, and I'll just put an X on it just so it's like a reminder that I used it already, which it being empty should give me that notion. But I go and put it in the box, and when I come back, then I remove this one, put the next bottle, and kind of do the same thing. So it allows for all of it to go out. So you're using, all the oil, which honestly, they probably slightly overfill all these bottles for that reason. But it's just a weird OCD of mine. But that's the last one. We're gonna go ahead and take that off, clean it up. We're gonna clean around here, get the car off the ramps, head over to Pep Boys, the one that I used to work at, to go say what's up to some people. But then we're gonna go grab the pump for the transmission oil, and then we'll get started on that. All right, buttoned up, everything looks good. For some reason there's some weird splashing of the oil up there, I don't know why. Always double check, make sure you're not seeing any leaks. But if you went slow, made sure everything was nice and tight, but nothing cross-threaded weird, you shouldn't have any issues. So I always just start the car, let it run for a while, and then check again for leaks. Always is a good So as you say, the oil life on the car is at 67%. Up to you if you want to follow this. I follow it, but I also kind of keep in mind on how I drive the car, and especially when I'm racing, this essentially goes out the window. So, but I still use this as a rule of thumb in terms of once it starts getting to about 30 to 25%, that's when I do the oil change. I never let it go any more past that unless I, for some reason, can't do the oil change soon. So I will do whatever I can to do it between 25 and 30%. But obviously, if you track the car, or if you're drag racing, or if you're pushing the car hard all the time, you might want to, do it on a different interval. So do mileage instead, or do it after every track race, or do it before. Up to you. There's no right or wrong, but definitely just keep an eye on all those things. So we're just gonna, good tip too, if you don't know how to reset it, just hold the select button, hear beep, there you go, easy. And eventually I'll get this swapped out to the newer, to the RS dashboard. I just need to get it sent out. So we're gonna let it sit for a minute, and then we'll turn it off, and then we will check the levels. Okay, so we've had the car on for a while now, checked for leaks, checked to make sure nothing was sounding weird or anything like that. Everything looks great, no leaks. So we're gonna turn it off and check levels, and then we're gonna head out to go get the pump. Uber back, empty out these cans. So now we have enough room to put the transmission fluid in there. And we're gonna let the car cool down a while. It's gonna be way too hot to do it now, but we did get a oil can, so that way you know, I can just drop those off and then just hold on to this, so then next time I do the oil change, I can do it twice because this holds up to 12 quarts. So I could do mine, I can do Chelsea's Jeep, so then that way we're not having to, you know, scramble to find something or leave it in the oil catch can or whatever. So yeah, a friend of mine, Kevin Laguna, he had a pump and he let me borrow it. Honestly, I'm not gonna do this often enough to buy one or need it, so I didn't even check the prices, to be honest, but I could probably get one on Amazon for pretty cheap. But he was gracious enough to let us use it. So Kevin, if you're watching, thank you. I really appreciate it, man. Also got some gloves. I got some more towels, and I got some square bit sets, or hex, which, now that I'm thinking about it, this is the wrong one. I meant to get the square. But that's okay. Could use these anyway. So, yeah. So the plan is to, hopefully, we have a square. Let me see. Yeah, hopefully one of my socket wrenches will fit it. So that way we don't have to worry about any issues down the line or when we're taking this off. And I don't think I have a hex set yet. Nope, I don't. So I needed this anyway. So good looking out for myself. But yeah, so we got more gloves, we got more towels, so that way, you know, we can keep our hands clean, work area clean. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get down there, I'm gonna lay more plastic, but I'm gonna check to see if any of my socket wrenches will fit it. If I remember correctly, it should. A socket wrench end, I believe, it's not half inch, I think it's a 3/8. 3/8 is what will fit it, and I think with the small extension will give us enough to be able to get it off. If not, then we're off to the store again to go get some square bits, but I think we should be okay. Did some test fitting, so it turns out it's not the half, or the 3/8. I think I'm getting all my measurements wrong. So this is your standard size head. I'm pretty sure this is a half. Yes, half. It needs to come down to, hold on, I can tell you right now. And yes, so it needs to go from a half inch to a 3/8. So I was correct. So that way, and it fits perfectly. So if you don't want to get a full set of the square tips or anything like that, getting some of these universal adapters and joint sets, this will do you one. You should have one of these because they come in handy on everything, but also it'll give you the right one, the half-inch female to the 3/8 male, and that's what the one that you need to use. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and get down there. Don't need any extensions as far as I can tell. We're gonna get down there, and what I'm gonna do actually first is I'm gonna mark at least the drain plug. I can't really, the car's super hot, so I'm gonna be able to reach up there, but at least the drain plug I'm going to mark on the outside of the drain plug itself, so that way when I'm screwing it back in, I know that I'm getting to the point of where it's gonna tighten, and then that way I can just tighten it slightly. Now there is red thread locker on there, so this is gonna be very hard to get off. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna put some blue thread locker. So this is medium strength. It's not gonna go it's going to hold on to it very well. But we might have to do some grunt work to get this off. I'm hoping it's not too hard, but you know, we'll see how that turns out. But we'll put some medium strength thread locker. When we put it back in, we're going to clean it really well, and we'll put it on the underside of where I make the mark. So we're not going to put it on the entire thing, just above where I put that mark, so that way, you know, we make sure it seals well. And again, you know, don't tighten it too much, because the last thing you want to do is overdo it and you strip something, and that's going to be way more work to fix than just doing this by itself. So don't use all your strength, enough, and use some thread locker. That's going to help you out. Okay, so the drain, or the fill plug, is right here. So you can see the drain plug here, and right above it on the driver's side is going to be the fill plug. So I've already started to get it loose. The thing to notate though is that this was super loose on there, so that's kind of a good indication that this isn't on there super tight. So keep that in mind when you're doing this, that it may be a lot looser than you think. So just be aware of that. But yeah, right now I'm sure you can't see it. I wish I had my lights to be able to show you where it's at, or where it looks like, but yeah, it's up there. You can see some of the oil coming down, and it's pretty dark, and that's not a good sign. Well, it's a sign that there's a lot of wear, if anything. So we'll let that drain out, and as you can see, that's how you know it's full. When that starts to drip out like that, that's how you know it's at its full. And it's draining out very fast because it's hot. So I have to be very careful when doing the actual drain plug, because it is going to be very hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this slowly, and you can see I'm not putting a whole lot of force. I was gonna mark this, but I realized how soft this really is, so I figured I just have to be very careful putting it back on. So I do recommend, I'm gonna back up a little bit to make sure this doesn't splash all over me, and I did a little bit. Oh, well, I'll put this one over here. I got some cleaning up to do. This thing decided to just throw up all over the place. As you can see, it's all over the place over there, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean that. I realized that when I was putting on the when I put the plastic down and I put in the oil can, it pushed the plastic away. Not that it would have mattered, because it's splattered literally all over the place. But note to self, next time we do this, or for you guys trying to do this, just cover as much in plastic as you can. That way you don't run into this issue. Now I gotta clean it. I did notice though that new oil, when cleaned up right away, doesn't leave anything on the floor. But obviously this isn't the case. It was sitting there for a couple, like maybe 30 seconds. But I mean right away, as soon as this hits the ground, swipe it and or wipe it up and it'll go away. But it's starting to drain out. I separated the plugs. I like keeping things together or putting them back where they were at. So that's the top plug. I put the bottom plug on the other side. So we're gonna sit here for a while. We're gonna let this drain out as much as possible. I think it's already done, or else it'd keep dripping, but I'd like to just be very sure about it. The color of the oil was pretty dark. I mean, that's normal with wear and tear. That's normal with a car or with oil that's you know, been there for a while, and or a car that's been there for a while. That's normal for a car that's daily driven, a car that's driven hard, a car that gets taken to the track. Now, I should have done this earlier, but I didn't really think about it, to be quite honest. If anything, I didn't know how easy this actually was. But now that I've done it and I see it, trust me, this will be on my regular just like oil changes, especially because I drive the car hard and I go to the track. So now we're gonna wait, we're gonna let it drain, and then we'll plug everything back up. Maybe put a smidge of thread locker. Honestly, they probably put the red thread locker on there just because they don't tighten it very tight. So it's good to know. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and button everything back up, put a little bit of thread locker, snug it on there very well, and then we'll start filling it. Well, that's it. We're done. Got everything all cleaned up. So I've got essentially I got 4 bottles. So it's 3.8 quarts, which is crazy for me to not have paid much attention to that or called and checked it first, but we got plenty of extra, so for our next one we can make sure that it's good to go. Everything under the car is buttoned up, and looks good. Now it's time to take back the pump, take back the used oil and all that stuff, and test it out and see how it's driving. Like, I wish I had known that it was 3.8, because now I'm kind of second guessing myself. But like I said, I filled it to the top where it came out, and that's a good rule of thumb anyway. So as far as I can tell, we filled it up to where it needed to be. So we're gonna test it out, see or listen for anything that's weird, and hopefully, you know, everything works out great. We didn't have time to do the brakes today, which I had an idea that we weren't going to, which is fine. You know, I can either do it tomorrow. I just got to get them done before next week. So hopefully I can get some time in tomorrow to get these done. It is Halloween today, so happy Halloween to you guys. You're gonna be watching this way after Halloween, but belated Halloween. And I gotta get them done before the next weekend, so I want to go tracking. I mean, it's not the end of the world if I don't, but I'd rather have them done so I know that the brakes are at the best of their ability. But that's it for today. Thank you guys again for watching. Thank you guys who've been reaching out and commenting. I've finally hit over 100 subscribers, which I never thought would be a thing for me, at least. So hitting over 100 is really, really awesome. So thank you guys for watching, for commenting. Those of you who reached out to me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. It's been so awesome to be able to talk to you guys and give you advice and let you know what I've done. And hopefully, you know, I can continue doing that. Hopefully for the manual guys, I haven't seen any videos, so hopefully this will give you an idea of how to do it. So if there's anything I miss, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do more of a step-by-step. I'm not gonna redo it all, but I can show you what I did. I think I did that in the video, and when putting everything back, it's literally the opposite, so I didn't feel that was necessary. But get yourself a pump, because it'll make it easier for you. But that's it. Again, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know, you know, have you had any issues with your car? and please reach out. I'm more than happy to talk with you and talk cars, and you know, I love seeing the builds and, you know, seeing other people with the V6s and seeing how they're progressing. So until next time, guys, thank you again. I really do appreciate it. I can't begin to tell you. Be safe. Hopefully you had a safe Halloween since you're watching this after, but be safe, and yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.